centering Black families, joyful celebration, movement for Black lives, and evolution. Those are the four core themes of the Documenting the Philadelphia Juneteenth Festival in Germantown exhibition. This is a visual chronicle of community, resilience, and freedom, celebrated yearly at the Juneteenth Festival, led by the historic Johnson House for the past 25 years. Juneteenth on June 19th celebrates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States, marking the belated enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation issued 2.5 years earlier. It's a day of reflection on African American history, the end of slavery, and the ongoing pursuit of civil rights. Over time, it has evolved into a symbol of freedom, featuring community gatherings, parades, and cultural events. The Johnson House has a rich history of hosting events, including the annual Juneteenth Festival in Germantown. This Philadelphia tradition, which began in 1998 on Germantown Ave and Washington Lane, has transformed into a collaborative, multi-block celebration featuring vendors, performers, food, music, and activities. Cornelia Swinson, the executive director, has been actively involved in this tradition from its inception in 1998 to the most recent celebration on June 17, 2023. She also discusses the development of this photograph-centered exhibition, which took shape in 2015.
And so in 2015, I knew Tishka Smith from the work she did in the community, not just as a photographer, but for her political and social thought processes and her focus on addressing some of those issues that impacted the community. So I approached her because I thought it was important for us to document the growth of our Juneteenth festival. And so this exhibit represents her documentation since 2015 through 2022. It did not include 2023. And in doing so, I wanted anyone that came to look at the exhibit to say, oh, well, I didn't know this happened. I wanted them to remember. I wanted them to feel what we were doing and the importance of why we were doing it and the importance of having someone document the growth of it. Coming from a site that is about history and documentation, that was important for us to do. And so that's the reason why.
Tishka K. Smith, a Philadelphia-based photographer and content creator, challenges norms through her diverse creative work. Her community-focused art explores racism, classism, placemaking, and civic identity, shedding light on how they shape our society and culture. She talks about how her work got her involved in the Juneteenth exhibition. She is both the curator and photographer for.
So I've been here in Philly since 2011, and I spent about 5-6 years living in Germantown, documenting Germantown life as it was really changing. A lot of forces were coming together to really explore how to really put Germantown on the map as a neighborhood, a destination neighborhood in Philly. And I felt like certain voices were being left out of the conversation. So my practice during that time really focused on that. And that's how I got to know Connie, Cornelia Swinson at the Johnson House. I was doing a project called Racism is a Sickness, and in 2015, I was kind of knee deep in that, and she invited me to start documenting Juneteenth Festival. And I was like, sure, and I was kind of intimidated because, Connie is a force of nature and, just really, very powerful figure in Germantown life and politics, social life, and things like that. And so I really wanted to put my best foot forward. So I've been documenting the festival since 2015. It's been 8 years. It's been a wonderful experience every summer to come back to Germantown and use my camera to really capture, the energy, the momentum, the growth, the evolution of the festival.
Tishka says she went through hundreds of photographs to pull themes from. In the end, she found the four core aforementioned. She offers details and insights into the crucial link between Juneteenth and Germantown's historical freedom struggles, shedding light on what viewers can expect to see in the exhibition.
we were able to whittle down hundreds and hundreds of photos to roughly 78 photographs grouped by these 4 themes. And they all tell a story about community, in my opinion, how the Germantown community is, for me, a ground zero for what it means to be free. So, folks in Texas celebrate Juneteenth. They have a lock on, like this is where it started. But when you think about Germantown history, a lot of things related to slavery took place in Germantown. So I felt like Germantown needs to be talked about in the context of Juneteenth. And so my hope is that the exhibit will foster those kinds of conversations. Like, what does it mean to be free? What does it mean to have that connection temporally and geographically to what's going on, what went on in Texas and what's going on right now? And how can these photographs inspire people to really come together and talk about the things like what can we do to support Black families thriving? What can we do to support Black business and to uplift Black culture? What can we do to be our own activists? Like, it's one thing to support and rely on our activists to kind of put themselves on the line, but I believe that we all can be activists in our own right. And then finally, like, what can we do to support this festival? It's growing, it's thriving. We need to see more people showing up every year. It's growing numerically, but I feel like there's enough people in Philadelphia who, when they make a choice about where they're going to be for Juneteenth, they should choose Germantown.
The Johnson House initiated the exhibition, but it's hosted by Historic Germantown. Tuami Forrest, Executive Director of Historic Germantown, elaborates on why their collaboration with the Johnson House for hosting this documentation of the annual festival is significant.
We really wanted to celebrate, one, the artistry and work of Tishka Smith, the artist and photographer featured here, but also to lift up the fact that this celebration had been taking place in Germantown, hosted by the Johnson House Historic Society, which is one of our member organizations, for close to 2 decades now, and really recognize that leadership and recognize that this early on had been designated Philadelphia's official Juneteenth festival. So we wanted to kind of recognize that broader context, but also showcase people in the neighborhood, people coming out, families, vendors, elected officials, civic leaders, really taking part in this exhibit. So it's a celebration as much as anything, both of the photography of Tishka Smith as well as the meaning for this festival.
The Documenting Juneteenth Festival in Germantown exhibition is currently open Thursdays through Saturdays from noon to 4 p.m. or by appointment at the Historic Germantown site at 5501 Germantown Avenue. It's currently on display until the spring of 2024.
I hope the message that they take will be a deeper understanding of why it's important to continue to work to address the issue of inequity in our community, whether it's about race, class, gender. The message I want them to take is it's just as important today as it was then. And to never forget, so you keep on striving to keep that message front and center and clear. Come to Juneteenth 2024 and be prepared to enjoy yourself totally. Okay?